Thank you for the introduction, Ted. Like Ted had mentioned, my name is Pat Collins with Gold for America, and I'm the Senior Asset Manager here with the firm. And I've been in the industry for about the last 9 years now. A part of our core philosophy here at Gold for America is that one of the best investments one can make is in that of their financial education. So our objective here with the webinar today is to provide information such that you'll be more well-informed of what's occurring economically, not only domestically but as well around the world, and also in a position and aware of how holding physical gold and silver within a self-directed IRA can be a benefit to you. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, first off, we're going to go into the very simple mechanics of how one would go about holding physical precious metals inside of a self-directed retirement account. And then moving forward, we'll cover some of the reasons why many financial planning professionals recommend holding a portion of one's assets in physical gold and silver. Now, as you can see under number 1, you'll first need to establish a self-directed IRA through Provident Trust if that's not something that you've already done. And that consists of simply completing and submitting a very basic application. Now, under step 2, to fund the account, you can either transfer funds from an existing IRA, you can roll funds over from an old 401k, or even one that you're fully vetted in. Or you can also fund a new account if you'd like to do that as well. And then lastly, for step 3, we'll support you in creating a combination of the gold and silver that will help you to most effectively reach your either financial or your retirement goals. Now, once this is complete, your metal is then shipped to DDSC, which is the Delaware Services Corporation. And a couple of key points to mention here are that DDSC holds a $1 billion all-risk insurance policy with the Lloyd's of London, and also they're in no way affiliated with the government nor the banking industry. It is a completely private corporation, so your metal is absolutely safe with them. Now we're going to cover some of the unique features and benefits of owning precious metals such as gold and silver. The first being liquidity. Gold and silver are one of the most liquid assets ever known and are recognized for their intrinsic value literally all over the world. Next, we have storage of wealth. Gold and silver have been a storage of wealth and money for literally thousands of years. And this is also a very important point that we'll go into a little bit further in the next slide. Gold and silver have never been worth nothing. While on the other hand, within just the last 100 years, we've seen 34 different paper currencies that have failed and simply no longer exist today. No counterparty risk. Unlike a Federal Reserve note, it's not a debt instrument that is to be paid back sometime in the future plus interest. Gold and silver are portable. Compared to another tangible asset like let's use real estate, for example, it can be very easily transported, and they really do know no boundaries. Hedge against inflation. We have a family friend up in Oregon who owns a local gas station, and he'll accept a quarter for a gallon of gasoline, and that's with the cost of gas on average now at over $3 a gallon. Now the catch, though, is that the quarter, it has to be minted prior to 1965, when our coinage here in the United States, it contained 90% silver. So that exact same quarter from 50 years ago will purchase the exact same amount of gasoline today as it did then, simply because it was made of silver, which holds its intrinsic value. Now, for comparison's sake, how much gasoline would a quarter minted in 1965 that doesn't contain any silver just 1 year later? How much would that buy you today? Depending on where you live in the country, maybe a 15th or a 16th of a gallon. So as far as protecting one's wealth from what I like to call the hidden tax of inflation, physical metal is absolutely second to none. And lastly, gold and silver historically thrive in times of uncertainty, and I think we can all agree that these are fairly uncertain times that we're all currently living through. Now, with our next chart here, I want to touch a bit briefly on gold as an effective storage of wealth once again. Now, as you can see in the chart here, anyone saving in dollars since 2000 has lost a significant amount of purchasing power. So, for example, if back in 2000 you had, let's say, $10,000 in the bank, that $10,000 today would buy you about half of what it would have back then. And we can see evidence of this literally all around us. The price of gasoline has more than doubled. Food, healthcare, as well as education costs, they're all absolutely soaring. But on the flip side, if back in 2000 you would have held that $10,000 in its equivalent of physical gold, it would have not only effectively protected you from the loss of that purchasing power, but today you'd be able to purchase many more goods today than you would have been able to back then. Now we're going to take a brief look here at this next chart at the Dow's performance compared to gold over the last 10 years or so. Now, the chart you see here only goes up to mid-2012, but if it were to continue to today, the blue line of the Dow would be right up at about the 50% mark, and gold would be just a tad lower than where it's currently at. So meaning that since 2002, the Dow was only up a little over 50% since 2002. Well, gold, on the other hand, is currently up well over 400%. Now, that being said, we're also currently on the tail end of a very long overdue correction where we're seeing the price of gold and silver at levels that we haven't seen in 4 years. So while the stock market's currently being reinflated to absolutely unsustainable all-time highs due to quantitative easing 1, 2, 3, as well as Operation Twist, which have quadrupled the amount of currency in circulation in just the last 5 years, we're seeing gold and silver at significantly undervalued levels. And that represents an absolute gift to anybody that has yet to acquire physical gold or silver for that matter, as we're able to do so at prices that we haven't seen in about 4 years. Now, one last chart here that I think is important as well to be aware of is what the central banks of the world are up to in regards to gold. Now, without getting into too much detail about it, central banks are at the root cause of what's occurring economically around the world. Over the last 6 years, central banks have bought more gold than at any other time in history over the last 50 years. So the question that brings to mind for myself is, you know, what might the central banks around the world know that we don't, such that they're, and as well, what might they be preparing for? Now, in wrapping up, here are the types of precious metals that are allowed to be held in a self-directed IRA. And there are a few restrictions, such as you're not able to hold numismatics or collectible type coins or junk silver for that matter. And then lastly, here's our contact information. I invite everybody here that's joined us for the presentation, and that anybody that has any additional questions or who would like us to send out some more information about what you've heard, to reach out and give us a call at the number provided, or you can contact us via our website or our email there as well. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you for your time as well as your attention, and we look forward to supporting you in accomplishing and reaching your financial goals. Thank you very much.